Without color, monsters of every shape and form appear to be motionless. A young adolescent kid collapses into a trance. He wakes up quickly but is taken aback by what has happened. A golden glow that emanates from the room's center gets stronger by the second as he descends. The boy reaches out to seize the unidentified power. His fingers make contact with a weapon that has 6 spikes. As soon as he does, it bursts into life and a dazzling light appears. Blue columns arranged in 3 rows rest above the clouds, and a purple magic circle in the middle is holding a figure in place. With his eyes wide, a young man wearing a military uniform and clutching a gun blade is confused by what he is seeing. He wonders what legendary creature he has come upon as the chains start to shackle his black wings. The girl wakes up and wonders, is she an angel or a demon? But quickly begs him to take off her chains. Her cry for assistance astounds him because he knows it's not feasible for a human, because there have been conflicts between humans and other races for centuries. He yells to the sky as she sobs, saying that all he can recall is the human battle, but for some reason, no one can recall. The same boy exits his military-style armored jeep and scans the horizon with his binoculars. Kai is asked by his buddies if he's finished. He tells his 2 companions in the car to give it a break since he plans to spend the next few minutes admiring the cemetery. The boy's gaze is fixed on a massive structure made of gray metal. Kai briefly describes the world he is familiar with. Angels and elves are examples of celestials or demi-humans who are fighters, while demons are masters of great magical powers. Ghosts are another name for spirits, which are beings with unique bodies. And finally, mythical creatures like dragons. Against these 4 races of monsters, humanity has been engaged in perpetual warfare. The Urza Federation makes every effort to thwart any potential for another major conflict involving the 5 groups. His responsibility is to keep an eye on the cemeteries where the devils were imprisoned. Saki doesn't mind that Kai takes his work more seriously than his buddies do because it allows her to relax. Ashran, the child operating the vehicle, is unaware of the significance of this location. He then inquires with his friend Kai about any demon escapes from the pyramid during the previous century. Kai affirms that this has never occurred because it is the Humanity Aegis Agency's responsibility to ensure that it doesn't. Since there are 4 of these pillars, Ashran doesn't understand the point because it would only take the negligence of one of the other teams to bring about the end of the world. Ashran becomes uneasy when Kai disagrees, thinking that not only do other sites take their work seriously, but also them, since all it takes is one error. Saki tries to lighten the mood, but Kai is unable to do so because it seems like he is the one experiencing this issue. At the training center owned by their company in Vishal. As Ashran is flung across the room, Kai Soravento, a low-ranking soldier, is alerted to the danger by an artificial intelligence machine's voice. As Kai confronts a legendary beast machine doll that will be utilized to imitate battle in the unlikely event that a real one escapes. Although he manages to strike the dragon hard in the leg, he leaves himself vulnerable to a blow from its mouth. Saki yells at him to stop, shutting off the machine, thinking he's lost. She informs him that he is training too hard and that at this rate, he would damage himself. Kai views his training as unproblematic, since he believes that if a threat ever materialized, he would have to take chances in order to prevail. Saki believes that if Kai had been born during the Great War of 5, he most likely would have become a well-known hero. Though he doesn't dispute, Kai mentions a person known as Prophet Sid. Though touched by her remarks, Kai doesn't believe he would be unique. Saki finds it hard to see how a human might compete with the other races. She recalls the champions he faced from her past. Dark Empress Vanessa was the champion of the devils. With her sorcery, she could bring down buildings. The dagger-wielding heavenly ruler Alfreya, the hero of the Celestials. Sovereign Rikugen Kyoko, the champion of spirits. Finally, the king of mythical monsters, Fang Wrath, was found in the jungle. It was Sid's power to wield the gleaming sword that the god Arsla Salaka had bestowed upon him that made him such a holy and otherworldly character. Unlike his 4 opponents, Sid never appeared in pictures or movies, which makes his mythology more difficult to accept. Saki stands up to inquire about Ashran's intended length of stay on the ground from a seriously hurt man. Subsequently, She turns to inquire about the boys' plans for Jean's promotion ceremony. Saki informs Ashran that Jean will be moving to headquarters even though he doesn't feel like spending a lot of money on it. Given that the girl is regarded as a prodigy, this is the royal capital. Being the youngest person chosen at the age of 17, she has gained notoriety. Kai receives a text from the girl at that precise moment, asking to meet her tomorrow at the 9th terminal in front of the kitten statue at 10 a.m. The writing also says to keep it a secret from Saki and Ashran, which surprises the two. The two make fun of Kai for allegedly having an extramarital affair with the naive Jean, but Kai brushes this off and flees. Kai is waiting for the girl the following morning while dressed in his work attire. The female, who is wearing casual attire, welcomes him and tells him that this outing is the least she can do since she will be transferred to the capital the following week. Looking at him, why he is suited for a mission on his day off. Since he arrived here immediately after completing his morning training, he doesn't see anything wrong with this. Jean crosses her arms and smiles, realizing that only he could be so confident about going out with the girl. While other males may have felt awkward or frightened, the girl starts looking at jewelry since she wanted to purchase Saki and Ashran gifts. She asks confidently if that's what the three of them had in mind for her. Kai grinned at himself for being so bold as to ask. Since this will be her final encounter with the two, Jean wants to give them a nice farewell gift. Kai thinks she's overstating things because she will only be deployed for 2 years before returning to this place. Jean's expression darkens when she tells Kai that by then, Saki and Ashran will have completed their military duty and returned to normal life. Only the two of them remain. In an attempt to console the girl, Kai places his hand on her shoulder, remind her that her objective is to outperform her father, the chief. The day is spent by the two hanging out and shopping. Jean tells him about the demon graveyard at the crossing. Kai wandered inside 10 years ago while her father took him there to look around. She recalled how thrilled he used to get when he told people he had seen Sid's fabled sword as a child. Since no one else would likely believe him, and since he takes his work so seriously, he doesn't bring it up. Jean jogs forward as the crossing indicates that they may proceed. She asks Kai what his future intentions are, knowing from his background that he will remain in the military. A force begins to reshape the area around them, just as she is ready to ask him out. To catch Jean's attention, the kid yells at her, but it appears to her and the other people that he is going insane. Even while he knows that only he can see this distortion, Jean thinks that because he's referring to her so casually in public, she might be able to raise her expectations for their future together, to the delight of every woman observing the pair in the vicinity. A wormhole appears at that precise moment and grabs him. Everything he looks at is in ruins. The roads and buildings are all demolished. The sky appears to be permanently gloomy, and there are no people in the vicinity. A huge, mysterious, black beast emerges from behind a building as he tries to make sense of his surroundings. When Kai realizes it's a demon, it growls and starts talking. The creature shoots energy beams at him as magical circles appear when it flaps its wings. Happy that he took his equipment on his date with Jean, Kai hides behind it. Kai quickly runs over to get his gunblade and load it with bullets while it tries to charge its second wave of power. When the demon fires its second round of magic, Kai is able to block it with his modified elven bullets. The mystical beast is confused but adapts and creates a flame circle around Kai. Kai dodges its attack, then charges forward. When the beast swings to attack him, he is able to maneuver in midair. He's able to strike the demon with his sword, but appears to do no damage until he activates a detonator that rings out 3 explosives. Kai glides away, saying that was a modified Drake bullet made to reenact a mystical beast magic power, being the first time he was able to use his equipment. Another demon from behind him arrives, questioning him on if a human can really defeat a demon. Kai points his blade at the monster, commending it on his proficiency to learn the human language. The demon says it's more effective to give orders to its slaves using its natural language. As he's about to be attacked, a girl in an armored van swoops in to grab him. Once inside, she wonders what he was doing in demon territory Kai thanks Saki for saving him. The girl is confused as to why this stranger knows her name. He's confused, saying that his name is Kai and she knows him. He realizes the driver is Ashran, but the boy also has never heard of him before. The two think he's still rattled from the demon, but he sits down trying to remind the two that they were a part of the Aegis Agency. But Saki corrects him as they're part of the resistance. Saki can't believe he doesn't know about the human rebel army. It turns out he might be in an alternate reality where the humans took on the 5 races and lost, with it being 30 years since the final battle. The only thing the remaining humans could do is run and hide as all the cities were taken over. The 2 soldiers take Kai to the human city Neo-Vashel, being underneath an abandoned mall. Inside the base, they implemented an artificial sky to remind them of the outside world, and people seem to be relatively happy. Kai is confused on how the humans have lost to this degree, so he asks what happened to Prophet Sid. But the 2 don't know who that is. The captain of the corp and hero of the human race is Jean, but this girl looks much different than the carefree girl he knew. In fact, Jean is actually a guy. Kai starts to crash out on seeing Jean just walk by him as if he's a stranger. He causes more confusion, and when he reaches to touch, he's harshly grabbed by Jean's bodyguards. Saki and Ashran try to come to his defense, saying he's tired. The next day, he asks Saki about the graveyards, but again, she's never heard of them. Kai manages to persuade Ashran to give him the car for a bit. Kai goes to the old site of the graveyard he entered as a kid, and he finds Sid's sword. The sword still glows like a holy artifact, not fit for the human world. As he pulls the sword, it tells him that he's been enveloped by hatred of fate, making him its code holder, and like a key blade, it shoots a beam of light, opening a gate, bringing him to the heavenly altar he appeared in at the beginning of the episode. Kai stumbles as he doesn't know what to do, as he's never seen a demon or angel like this girl before. The girl's name is Rin, and she begs for him to release him. After another second, he decides to do just that and help her, but he warns her not to attack him the moment she's released. He swings his sword against the chains, but it does no damage. He goes again to attack, shoot at it, but again it does no damage. He's now unsure if he'll be able to break it, as this is the only weapon he brought with him. Looking up at the sky, he remembers that he still had Sid's sword, remembering that it was named Code Holder. At that moment, his gunblade glows yellow. It's so bright that he has to look away. But when he looks again, his sword has transformed into the legendary sword. With Sid's blade, he's not only able to break the chains, but slice straight through the pillar, freeing the girl. The girl is still exhausted from being bound for centuries, but soon bolts out of her coma like state to yell. Rinna gets out of Kai's arms to yell to the heavens out of frustration, cursing Vanessa. She believes that the girl is still nearby, demanding she come out so they can finish their battle. She then points as Kai, calling him a wimpy, low-ranked demon who has no chance of defeating her. Before Kai can even explain the situation to the girl, she attacks him. He manages to dodge her attack, but she doesn't stop, but instead increases the level of difficulty, this time shooting a blast of energy with the power of 3 magic circles. As the green wave of energy comes closer, time begins to slow down and the system begins to talk to him, reminding him that code holders can sever the lines of fate, so with a swing of his sword, he manages to cut through her magic. She is stunned momentarily, but then points her finger questioning, as he can't do that as it's cheating. He manages to understand that he's not a demon and not her enemy. Looking at his back, she's unable to see a tail or wings, proving that he's human. She apologizes to him as she has a grudge against demons. Hearing this, he questions her on what race she is if she's not a demon. The girl gets defensive from the question and lowers her head, indicating he's not going to get an answer as she's sensitive about the personal question. Rinna gives the person credit for understanding. Following their respective introductions, Rinna tells how she was fighting Vanessa until she eventually ended up behind bars. Kai is unsure if the girl is that strong or just naive enough to choose a fight with a hero. However, she reassures him that she is strong, which causes her to wonder how Kai was able to defend himself from her onslaught. He's about to respond when he notices an insect-like claw reach out to seize Rinny. A humanoid entity emerges from a portal. The creature attacks them while babbling about fate. As the artificial beings approach, Kai and Rinna sprint side by side to avoid them. However, it is able to release a wormhole and seize Rinny. The girl starts to get crunched in the creature's hold and begins to count down until the girl will be erased. Rinna screams as her life is about to end. Kai is frightened in place. He yells at himself to do something and manages to move. Jumping in the air, he cleanly slices through the robot's arm. He soon grabs the girl, and the two go through the portal he created from his sword. While Kai is trying to process everything that happened, Rinna tackles him. The girl cries, saying how scared she was just now, and the two grab onto each other tight as a form of comfort. Rinny reveals that she was ostracized by the Celestials, spirits, and even mystical beasts. As this is the first time she's received comfort, the demons in particular found her unsightly, resorting to name-calling. Kai feels the same way because no one remembers him, so like the girl, he's all alone in this world. Kai opens up about his problems to this complete stranger. The girl finds his story interesting as she does remember the demons on the verge of losing to the humans. Kai gets excited as this means they're the same. This makes Rin happy as this is the first time someone said this to her. On the way out, the girl collapses, unable to walk as her legs have been asleep for 100 years. Kai helps her back to the car, telling her she can live in the human city if she has nowhere to go. Rinny doesn't trust humans, but Kai manages to convince her, as she can always leave if she feels unsafe. Inside the human city, Rinny is able to hide her wings, making it convenient to walk around. But given her untrusting and childlike demeanor, she still doesn't go unnoticed, and even tried to destroy the city when someone talked to her. As the girl is in the shower, he thinks of Sid's sword, but he's brought out of his thoughts as a naked Rinna yells for him to turn off the shower. After she clothes herself, she complains like a child about how unfair humans are, as they get to have warm showers and space beds. The two then talk about their situation, and Kai concludes that they're in an alternate world where the human hero Sid never appears. So the humans lose the war, causing this inverse world. Rinny concludes that all they need to do is find a way back home. Kai agrees, and the two go to sleep. Rinny wakes Kai up as she is able to sense powerful magic nearby. Outside, the city is being evacuated with people running to the shelters. While the city is on fire, Kai internally thinks that humanity needs a hero. He turns back to Rinny apologizing as the only person who can be this world's Sid is probably him, and he runs out to help. On top of a building, the Resistance Army shoots bullets at the winged demon, but it's ineffective. Saki runs to get reinforcements, but turns to see a demon about to end her life. Luckily at that time, Kai charges in with his gunblade. He then tells her that the stone demons love to stay in the air, so you need to douse them with water to make their wings heavier. From there, it's easy to defeat them. As Ashran is about to be turned to stone, Kai shoots one of his elven bullets to free him. But soon, Kai is cornered by two demons. Using his martial arts skills, he abandons his sword to push the demon away. On the rooftop, Rinny is able to assist him with lightning magic. Rinny runs up to Kai as she's decided to get involved if he plans on fighting the demons, with the two in agreement on their new partnership in the future. Just then, Saki and Ashran run up to Kai asking him about his magic-canceling bullet and the martial arts used to knock the demons away. Kai tries to tell them that he's from a world where the humans won in the War of Five Races, but they still don't believe him. As they have more questions, headquarters contact Ashran, saying that two scout demons managed to get their coordinates, meaning there will be more demons to attack their settlement. Saki welcomes him to come along to the meeting, as she's sure Jean will be happy to hear there's a human who can fight a demon with his bare hands. On the way there, he learns that the rebel army headquarters is in the old capital of Urza Federation. It turns out that Jean's father retired 2 years ago due to an injury, so Jane is his successor. Inside the meeting rooms, Jane commands him to give his report. He gives Jane his story of being from another world where they won. One of the generals slams the table, having enough of this fairy tale. Jean remains calm as he remembers this story from the other day and wishes to humor him. Asking what kind of relationship the two had, Kai says they were colleagues and childhood friends. He brings up two names that John recognizes, as this is something only the people closest to her would know. She ends the meeting for today, allowing for them to leave. That night, her assistant calls for them to meet John. Inside, Jan is wearing a dress while still talking like a tomboy, but confirms that he's correct, as Og and Jur were the nicknames she gave her father and grandfather as a child. John, as a leader, can believe everything he says, but is willing to use his information as it's proven effective to repel the demons. From here, she plans on meeting with the other leaders of the human cities so they can launch an attack. As for now, they need a way to repel the demons invading Neo-Vassal. Rinna quietly tells her the flaws of her plan, as this would only cause more demons to come back, as one powerful magic attack could level this entire city. Jean yells out of desperation at the girl as she knows this but doesn't see no other way. Kai cuts in as this is pointless, as there's only one demon they need to aim their weapons at, that being the hero of demons, the Dark Empress, Vanessa. Jean can't believe his audacity, as this demon single-handedly defeated their forces 30 years ago, wiping out the government and defensive forces. Kai and Rinne volunteer to go behind enemy lines and defeat Vanessa while the troops keep her busy. Fallen questions him on why he's doing all this, asking him what compensation he wants from all this. Kai admits he could leave and not involve himself in this war, but he'd be unable to face his friends as he would have memories of leaving them to die. He further explains that at most 10% of the army is defending the capital, as the remaining troops are focused on the other races, as the humans have already lost in their minds. Fallen agrees with the plan, as the royal family had a secret escape route that the demons definitely don't know about. Jean is shocked to hear this, and questions why, as the commander, she didn't know about this. Fallen explains that her father, being the former commander, didn't want her to know about this. As this was the plan, her tried but was injured because of it, not wishing to have his daughter lose her life. As the rebel army is preparing to embark on their most dangerous battle, Rinna sits to think about her current situation. Rinna hates the demons because they are deceitful, she hates the spirits because they are creepy, the mythical beasts are barbaric, celestials are stubborn, and she hates humans for being weak. But she also admits to hating herself, as she's a combination of all of them. But the one thing she doesn't hate is Kai, because he's the only one who's accepted her, so she prays that the boy doesn't die on her. Saki is trying to wrap her head around the crazy idea the headquarters came up with, as while their comrades die like cannon fodder, the strike force will fight Vanessa and free the captives. She cries, hugging Rinne, as her only problem with the plan is her being on the assault team that's supposed to defeat Vanessa. Saki is starting to regret befriending Kai, as the only reason she was asked to be his backup is because he doesn't know anyone else in the city. Rinne rubs the girl's head as to give her support to Kai's friends. She vows to protect the girl, proclaiming that she's strong and that she probably won't lose to anyone except Vanessa. Saki had to ask what if she has to fight Vanessa. Rinne is silent and looks away from the girl. This pause of silence doesn't make Saki feel confident. While the girls talk, Ashran admits to Kai that he's also nervous about the operation, as they have no idea what the capital looks like after all these years. He also assumes that the demons should be able to see the coming if they bring in such a large group. But Kai downplays this, as the demons are sensitive to magic, so they should be fine. Kai compliments the boy on being so calm given the situation. But Ashran admits that he isn't, as his hands have been shaking this whole time. But if they do manage to win against the demons, it would be historic, and he's sure they'll be properly rewarded. When they arrive, Jean, in her disguise as a man, gives a speech to her comrades. She reminds them about how long they've been fighting the demons, about the people they've lost. She unsheathes her sword and yells that it's time they call out of this basement. They charge out and can already hear the signs of battle. The rest of them halt as a demon uses ice magic to block their path. Kai has seen this before and jumps over it, then he charges and impales the demon in the stomach. The attack detonates an explosive, killing his opponent. But they're reminded that it's a battlefield as more demons appear from inside the walls. Kai looks at Rin and tells her they need to finish this in one shot. She nods her head in acknowledgement. The two use a synchronized attack, Rinny charges his bullet with lightning, which manages to hit all the demons in the arena. Kai looks at Jean, telling her that he's going to go ahead and take care of Vanessa. She allows this, and Fallen tells them that the building has 10 flights of stairs, so it's going to take them an hour. Jean has Group 1, armed with large machine guns to defend the entrance and to not let any demons get into the government building. Group 2 is in charge of freeing the prisoners, while her group, being Group 3, fights Vanessa. Jean looks to Kai, asking if he plans of backing out of challenging Vanessa one-on-one. Kai smiles as he has no plan on leaving them. Rin points to the ceiling, spotting a demon shaman, which is used to summon a large demon. From a magic circle on the wall, a demon devilly smiles at its next victim, grabbing a man and being prepared to eat him. But it's stopped by Fallen, who jumps high in the air and then slices his fingers off, allowing for his comrades to catch him. Fallen is determined to fight this demon alone, so Jean can make her way to Vanessa. Group so far managed to hold off the demons, while Group 2 is able to free the captives. Our protagonist makes his way to the throne room, but is blown away as John looks to be dead. But the armor that she wears is lighting repellent. Rinny recognizes it as an elven garment. Jean winks at her as this magic item is known as the Sacred Light Garment. She commands his group to go further, as the Knights of the Sacred Light will be this demon's opponent. The group puts on an arm bracelet, much to Saki's confusion. Rinny explains its barrier magic. Kai calls her name, and the girl remembers she has to lie about the explanation so as to not reveal her identity. They make their way further down the hallway and are met face to face with a demonic rhinoceros. Saki clutches her gun, ready to fire, but she's calmed down by Rinnin. The animal walks by them, and it's explained that the barrier magic makes them invisible. The group manages to find the main electrical room, allowing them to control the lights, with Rin and Kai splitting up from Saki and Ashran. Outside, the two hear that the alarms have gone off, making them wonder if they've been discovered. In the next room, a winged demon admits that these machines do come in handy sometimes. The demon looks at Rinna's wings and calls her an unsightly creature, which makes the girl remember her past. But Kai steps in front of her to assure her she's not alone. Then, Kai asks if he's the one to come up with the emergency alarm in the control room, but he denies this, as it was their Empress Vanessa's wisdom who thought of it. Vanessa found all this to be entertaining, as she wants to know why the group came up with this plan that would lead to their defeat. When Rin grabs Kai's hand before he can dodge, she's able to easily maneuver away from their fireballs. She tosses Kai away and freezes his path so he's out of her way. She tells him not to worry, as she'll catch back up with them. The group of demons comment about how the girl smells like an angel, but continue as they can smell a multitude of different racing, with them having to know who her parents are, as they don't know what she is. Rinny admits to not knowing, but says it doesn't matter, as all she wants to do is be with Kai. In Vanessa's palace sits the woman dressed in a black, seductive outfit. She welcomes the human to her throne room. She asks him if he's not going to throw away his gun, which catches him off guard. She continues as the strongest demon is a succubus, as she doesn't mind making him her toy to pass the time. But Kai adamantly refuses this, as he can't forget the slaughter she's caused. The woman laughs as she uncrosses her legs. She was not expecting a mere human to reject her, as she planned on charming him into enslavement. She then asks if he's the one with the elven armor, but he denies this as he's an outsider, claiming to be from a world where she loses in the end. She humors him and asks how the war went in his world, wanting to know what race defeated him. She is stunned by his answer, then can't help but laugh, as no mere human could match her. This is all too hilarious to her, but has to ask who was the human that defeated her. Her eyes widen to unproportionate levels as she remembers the name, Prophet Sid. The woman starts to have cold sweats as she's able to remember Sid, his sword, and the graveyard, realizing she's been reincarnated. As he's trying to get more information out of her, she's now tired of this conversation and launches a wave of dark magic at him. Kai shoots his bullet that neutralizes her magic, as he yells not to take humans so lightly. Landing next would be a killing blow on her, but it turns out to be an illusion, as she's now behind him. She compliments his weapon, recognizing it's similar to Drake's breath. She asks her if she's ready to validate his story, but she refuses. She launches a wave of flames at him, The power is so great it destroys the wall behind him, with a great torrent of flames reaching the skies. Vanessa rubs her head as she kept her flames focused so as to not destroy her base. She then looks at Kai, asking what he'll do next, as her next attack is strong enough to destroy any race. A magic circle of flames covers the ground as she is about to make good on her promise. The attack is able to destroy the remainder of the room. In the sky, she begins to say that no one other than a hero could survive that attack. So she questions how Kai was able to stay standing, with him now holding the legendary Blade of Sid. He recognizes that the sword saved him again. At that moment, Vanessa is blasted by lightning as Rinna makes her way over to Kai. Kai is worried for her, as she looks like she could collapse at any time. Rinny reaffirms her conviction to stand by him, as she was extremely worried after hearing the last attack. As they're about to fight, Vanessa, a wormhole appears, with the same insect-like robot girl making an appearance. It manages to bind the girl, leaving her unable to move. The machine says that it sensed a disturbance from the hero of the demons from influence from the taboo code named Sid. The machine attacks her, ready to end her life with Last Riser. Vanessa feels that she's starting to understand, recognizing the word Last Riser. But soon she starts to scream in agonizing pain as the machine says she's going to be erased from this world. But Vanessa manages to break free as marks begin to form around her body. The succubus calls the robot trash, as a mere dog of Alfreya is no match against her. With her next move of immense power, she is able to completely incinerate the robot and the surrounding area. Kai marvels in her display of power and wonders how Rin was able to battle against her. But turning to her, the girl is shaking as she's scared, having never faced this Vanessa from her old world. Vanessa is unable to remove this power-up she acquired, but doesn't care about it much, as she now looks at them as if she's ready to take out the trash.